My precious child, draw close and listen to the whispers of eternity. For tonight I must reveal to you one of my most sacred secrets, a mystery that unfolds in the darkest hours when human eyes are closed, but heaven's eyes are wide awake, working with surgical precision on the very circumstances that have been causing you pain. You have wondered, haven't you, why your deepest struggles seem to intensify in the midnight hours, why your fears feel most overwhelming when the world sleeps, why your pain seems to echo loudest in the silence of the night. Let me unveil a truth that will transform your understanding of suffering forever. What you call your darkest hour is actually when I perform my most delicate work. What you experience as midnight agony is when I conduct the most intricate operations on your circumstances, your relationships, your future, your very destiny. You see, my beloved, I am not just the great physician who heals bodies. I am the divine surgeon who operates on impossibilities. I don't just treat symptoms, I remove root causes. I don't just bandage wounds, I reconstruct entire life systems. I don't just provide temporary relief, I perform permanent transformations that leave even angels speechless at my precision. But here's what your natural eyes cannot perceive. While you toss and turn in restless sleep, battling worry and pain, I am in the operating room of your circumstances. My hands steady, my instruments perfect, my technique flawless, removing everything that has been poisoning your peace and transplanting miracles that will change your entire life trajectory. Tonight you will discover why I often do my most powerful work while you sleep. Tonight you will understand why I perform surgery on your storms rather than simply calming them. Tonight you will learn to trust the surgeon whose success rate is 100% and whose operations never fail. Are you ready to witness what happens when the divine surgeon says, "Prepare the patient, we're going in"? My precious patient, before I can help you understand the midnight operations I perform, you must first understand the intricate anatomy of divine intervention, how I work, when I work, and why I often work in ways that seem mysterious to human understanding. Listen carefully. I am not a God who intervenes occasionally in human affairs. I am a God who is perpetually intervening, constantly operating, continuously working behind the scenes with such precision that what you call coincidences are actually the visible results of my invisible surgeries. But why do I often choose the midnight hour for my most delicate operations? Because midnight is when human interference is minimized. It's when your analytical mind stops trying to solve what only I can resolve. It's when your controlling nature finally releases its grip and allows me to work unhindered by your well-meaning, limited efforts. Think of it this way. A skilled surgeon requires absolute stillness from the patient during the most critical parts of the operation. Any movement, any resistance, any attempt by the patient to help could compromise the precision required for success. So I wait for you to enter the deep sleep of surrender, where your spirit is quiet enough for me to perform miracles that require perfect focus. Here's what most of my children never understand. The pain that keeps you awake is not your enemy. It's your diagnostic tool. It's showing me exactly where the surgery needs to be performed. The areas of your life that throb with discomfort are the areas where I need to operate most urgently. Your financial stress, that's showing me where I need to perform wealth transplant surgery, removing poverty mindsets, and implanting abundance DNA. Your relationship conflicts, those are revealing where I need to perform heart surgery, removing bitterness, and transplanting forgiveness. Your health challenges, they're indicating where I need to perform healing surgery, removing disease, and implanting divine vitality. Every midnight, when you lie awake wrestling with problems, I am actually using that time to scan your entire life system with my supernatural X-ray vision. I see things your natural eyes miss. I diagnose conditions that haven't manifested symptoms yet. I identify threats to your destiny that you don't even know exist. And then, while you finally fall into exhausted sleep, I begin the most precise surgical procedures the universe has ever witnessed. I operate on your reputation while you sleep, removing the damage caused by false accusations and transplanting favor that will restore you to greater honor than you ever possessed. I operate on your children's future while you rest, removing generational curses and transplanting generational blessings that will affect their children's children. I operate on your finances while you slumber, removing the spiritual blockages that have hindered your prosperity and transplanting supernatural connections that will open revenue streams you never imagined. I operate on your emotions while you dream, removing trauma that has been buried for decades and transplanting peace that passes human understanding. But the most delicate surgery I perform is on your faith itself. While you sleep, I remove doubt tumors that have been growing in the darkness of your fears. Transplant hope organs that will pump life into dreams you thought were dead. I repair the trust arteries that were damaged by past disappointments. Every morning when you wake up and things somehow feel different, when problems that seemed insurmountable the night before suddenly have solutions, when relationships that were impossible to repair start showing signs of healing, when doors that were firmly closed begin to crack open. That's the evidence of my midnight surgery. You wake up with supernatural peace about situations that terrified you the day before. You find yourself with wisdom you didn't possess yesterday. You discover strength you didn't know you had, courage you couldn't find, and hope that defies your circumstances. This is not positive thinking, my child. This is divine surgery, and I am the only surgeon in the universe who can operate on the impossible and make it possible. Operate on the broken and make it better than new. Operate on the dead, make it live again. Now let me reveal to you the instruments I use in my midnight operations. Tools so precise, so powerful, that they can cut through impossibilities without damaging hope, remove problems without leaving scars, and transplant miracles without rejection. My first instrument is the scalpel of truth. This blade is sharper than any two-edged sword, dividing soul and spirit, joints and marrow. When I operate on your life, use this scalpel to cut away every lie you've believed about yourself, every false narrative you've accepted about your future, every deceptive story you've been told about what's possible for someone like you. Unlike human scalpels that cause pain, my scalpel of truth brings relief. When I cut away the tumor of "you're not good enough," you feel lighter. When I remove the cancer of "it's too late for you," you feel younger. When I extract the poison of "you'll never amount to anything," you feel your true potential awakening. The precision of this instrument is beyond human comprehension. I can remove doubt without touching faith. I can extract fear without disturbing courage. I can cut out anxiety without harming peace. I can eliminate insecurity without affecting confidence. My second instrument is the forceps of grace. With these, I grip the good things in your life that are being threatened and hold them steady while I operate on the bad things that are trying to destroy them. Your marriage may be on life support. My forceps of grace are holding the love steady while I remove the infection of miscommunication and transplant understanding. Your business may be bleeding resources, but my grace forceps are protecting the core vision while I remove the parasites of wrong partnerships and implant divine connections. Your health may be compromised, but my grace is gripping your life force while I extract the toxins and infuse supernatural vitality. These forceps never slip. They never lose their grip. What I hold with grace, nothing can steal. What I secure with favor, nothing can remove. What I protect with love, nothing can destroy. My third instrument is the sutures of promise. After I remove what needs to go, I use these to close the wound with declarations that create permanent healing. Each stitch is a promise from my word. Each suture is a covenant declaration. Each knot is sealed with my blood and guaranteed by my integrity. When I suture your broken heart, I use promises like, "I will heal your brokenness and bind up your wounds." When I stitch up your financial wounds, I use guarantees like, "I will supply all your needs according to my riches and glory." When I repair your family tears, I use covenants like, "I will restore the years the locusts have eaten." These sutures are unbreakable. Time cannot dissolve them. Circumstances cannot untie them. The enemy cannot cut them. They are made from the same material as my word. They are eternal, immutable, and absolutely reliable. My fourth instrument is the laser of love. This tool is so precise it can remove malignancy without harming healthy tissue. I can burn out bitterness without touching compassion. I can eliminate resentment without affecting your ability to love. I can destroy hatred without damaging your capacity for forgiveness. This laser operates at the frequency of perfect love. Perfect love drives out fear. When I focus this beam on your anxieties, they evaporate. When I direct it toward your insecurities, they dissolve. When I aim it at your limitations, they disappear like shadows when light arrives. My fifth instrument is the transplant kit of miracles. This is perhaps my most spectacular tool, for it allows me to take impossibilities from one realm and transplant them into your reality. I can transplant supernatural health into natural sickness. I can transplant divine favor into human rejection. I can transplant heavenly provision into earthly lack. But the most amazing transplants I perform are character transplants. I remove your weakness and transplant my strength. I extract your limited understanding and implant my wisdom. I take out your human love and put in my divine love that never fails, never gives up, never runs out. These transplants are never rejected because they're compatible with your true nature as my child. Your spirit recognizes these gifts as belonging to you, as part of your original design, as your inheritance that was always meant to be yours. My sixth and most powerful instrument is the resurrection defibrillator. When dreams have flatlined, when hope has stopped beating, when faith has no pulse, I use this instrument to shock them back to life with voltage from heaven itself. Clear, I declare, and send supernatural electricity through dead situations. Clear, I command, and lifeless dreams suddenly gasp back to consciousness. Clear, I decree, and relationships that were pronounced dead suddenly show signs of life. This instrument has never failed to restart what truly belongs to you. What I resurrect stays resurrected. What I revive lives abundantly. What I restore comes back stronger than it was before it died. Every midnight when you sleep, I prepare these instruments with precision. I sterilize them with holiness. I sharpen them with righteousness. I calibrate them with love. Then I begin the operations that will transform your life so completely. When you wake up, you'll hardly recognize the person in the mirror. My beloved patient, before I can perform the surgery that will transform your circumstances, there must be a season of preoperative preparation. This is not punishment. This is precision. This is not delay. This is divine timing. This is not abandonment. This is alignment. You see, not every surgery can be performed immediately. Sometimes the patient must be stabilized first. Sometimes complications must be addressed before the main operation can begin. Sometimes the body must be strengthened to handle the transformation that's coming. In the spiritual realm, you must prepare your faith to handle the magnitude of the blessing. You must strengthen your character to carry the weight of the blessing I'm about to release. I must enlarge your capacity to contain the overflow. The waiting you've endured has not been wasted time. It's been preparation time. Every day you've wondered why nothing seems to be changing. I've been conducting preoperative tests on your spirit. I've been running diagnostics on your faith level. I've been measuring your readiness for prevention. Think of how a surgeon prepares for a complex operation. First comes the consultation, where the problem is identified and the solution is planned. You've been in this phase every time you've poured out your heart to me, every time you've cried out for change, every time you've said, God, I need your help. Then comes the preoperative counseling, where the patient learns what to expect during and after the surgery. This is what's happening right now as I explain to you how I work, why I work the way I do, and what you can expect when I begin to operate on your circumstances. Next comes the fasting period, where the patient must abstain from certain things to prepare the body for surgery. In the spiritual realm, I often require seasons of fasting from worry, fasting from complaining, fasting from trying to fix things yourself. This isn't to make you suffer. It's to create the optimal conditions for miraculous intervention. Sometimes I require you to fast from toxic relationships that contaminate the healing I'm about to bring. Sometimes you must fast from negative thinking patterns that would interfere with the positive transformation I'm planning. Sometimes you must abstain from controlling behaviors that would resist the surrendering I'm required for successful. Then comes the anesthesia, the deep sleep of surrender, where you finally stop struggling and allow me to work without interference. This is often the most difficult part of the preparation because your natural instinct is to stay awake, to maintain control, to make sure everything is going according to your plan. But, dear child, the surgery I need to perform on your life is too delicate for you to remain conscious. Your well-meaning attempts to help would only hinder the precision required. Your natural inclination to control would interfere with the supernatural transformation I'm orchestrating, so I wait for you to reach that place of complete surrender where you finally say, God, I can't figure this out. I can't fix this. I can't make this happen. I'm going to sleep in your arms and trust you to handle what I cannot handle. That's when the real surgery begins. But here's what you must understand about spiritual anesthesia. It's not unconsciousness, it's superconsciousness. It's not unawareness, it's hyper-awareness of my presence. It's not sleeping through the operation, it's resting in the operation, knowing that the great surgeon is at work. During this phase, you may experience what feels like numbness to circumstances that used to disturb you greatly. Problems that once caused panic now feel strangely peaceful. Situations that used to steal your sleep now somehow seem manageable, even though nothing has changed externally. This is the anesthesia of faith, the sedative of trust, the peace that passes understanding. It's not denial, it's divine confidence. It's not avoidance, it's assurance. You're not sleeping through your problems, you're resting in my solutions. Sometimes, like in natural surgery, there are moments during the operation when I need you to be semi-conscious. Respond to my voice, but remain still for the procedure. These are the moments when I whisper instructions to your spirit. Forgive now. It's this. Trust me with that. Let go of this. Your response during these moments determines the success of the operation. When I say forgive, your obedience allows me to remove the infection of bitterness. When I say release, your surrender enables me to extract the tumor of control. When I say trust, your faith activates the healing I'm trying to accomplish. The preparation phase is almost complete, my beloved. The operative tests have confirmed what I already knew. You are strong enough to handle the transformation I'm about to perform. Your faith is stable enough to support the miracle I'm about to manifest. Your heart is prepared to receive the love I'm about to pour out. The anesthesia is taking effect. I can see your soul settling into the peace of complete surrender. Your spirit is entering that sacred space where miracles become possible, where impossibilities become probabilities, where my power encounters your yielded will and creates something beautiful beyond your imagination. The surgical lights are on. My instruments are prepared. The operation you've been waiting for is about to begin. Trust the surgeon, beloved. Rest in my hands. Sleep peacefully in my arms. When you wake up, you'll be amazed at what I've accomplished while you were resting in me. The operation has begun, my beloved. You are now in that sacred state of surrender where my hands can work without resistance, where my instruments can move with perfect precision, where my healing power can flow unhindered by your natural tendency to analyze and control. I can see what you cannot see. Your circumstances spread before me like an anatomy chart, and I identify every area that needs attention with supernatural accuracy. There, that relationship wound that never properly healed and has been causing chronic pain. Here, that financial artery that's been blocked, restricting the flow of provision to your future. Over there, that dream that flatlined and needs immediate resurrection. First, I must address the most critical issue, the infection of hopelessness that has been spreading through your belief system. This is emergency surgery because if I don't remove this toxin immediately, contaminate every other operation I need to perform. I make the first incision with my scalpel of truth, cutting through the scar tissue of disappointment that has formed over your heart. The wound is deeper than I initially diagnosed. Years of unanswered prayers have created layers of protective cynicism that must be carefully removed without damaging the faith tissue underneath. I can see the infection of God doesn't care about my situation spreading through your spiritual bloodstream. This must be extracted immediately. Using my forceps of grace, I grip this lie and begin to pull it out by the roots. It resists. Lies always fight for their lives, but my grip is stronger than its hold on you. As I remove this poison of doubt, I simultaneously transfuse fresh hope directly into your spiritual circulatory system. I can see the color returning to your faith, the vitality flowing back into your prayers, the strength rebuilding in your trust muscles. I turn my attention to the tumor of rejection that has been growing in your identity center. This mass has been fed by years of feeling overlooked, undervalued, forgotten. It's pressing against your confidence organ, restricting its function and causing chronic pain in your self-worth system. This is delicate work. Rejection tumors are often entangled with healthy self-protection mechanisms I must cut with precision, removing the malignancy while preserving your ability to set appropriate boundaries. The laser of love is the perfect instrument for this. It destroys the rejection cancer while leaving healthy discrimination intact. As the tumor dissolves under my love frequency, I can see immediate improvement in your spiritual vital signs. Your confidence pulse is strengthening, your self-worth blood pressure is stabilizing, your joy levels are beginning to rise. But I discover something that requires immediate attention, a blood clot of bitterness that's blocking the flow of love to your relationship sector. This is dangerous because it could cause a stroke in your marriage, a heart attack in your family connections, or an embolism in your friendships. I must perform emergency surgery to remove this clot before it causes permanent damage. Using specialized instruments of forgiveness, I carefully extract years of accumulated hurt, resentment, and disappointment. The clot is massive, bigger than I initially realized, but my instruments are designed for exactly this type of extraction. As the bitterness is removed, I watch the love circulation immediately improve. Blood flow of compassion returns to areas that have been oxygen-starved for years. The relationship sector begins to pink up with possibility. Healing nutrients of grace begin reaching tissues that have been dying from emotional malnourishment. Now I can address the chronic condition that has been causing you the most pain, the financial fracture that has never healed properly. This break occurred years ago through a series of setbacks, betrayals, and disappointments that created a compound fracture in your prosperity bone. The break was never properly set because you tried to heal it yourself instead of bringing it to me immediately. Now there's scar tissue and calcium deposits of fear that must be cleaned out before proper healing can occur. This is intricate work. I must re-break what healed incorrectly and reset it in proper alignment with my abundance plan for your life. It's painful for a moment as I separate the areas that grew together wrong, but this temporary discomfort will result in permanent restoration that's stronger than the original structure. I install internal fixation devices, promises from my word that will hold healing in place while new growth occurs. I inject bone growth factors, supernatural favor that will accelerate the formation of stronger financial structures than you ever possessed before. While that area heals, I turn to the neurological damage caused by years of chronic stress. The worry pathways in your brain have become superhighways, while the peace routes have atrophied from lack of use. This requires delicate neurosurgery to reroute your default thought patterns. I carefully disconnect the anxiety circuits that have been firing automatically whenever you think about the future. These pathways have been so overused that they've become the default route for all your thoughts about tomorrow. Using microsurgical techniques, I create new neural pathways of trust, bypass routes of faith that will guide your thoughts safely around the damaged areas of fear. I install peace pacemakers that will regulate your emotional rhythm and future anxiety attacks. The most complex part of tonight's surgery involves your destiny organ, the part of your spiritual anatomy that contains your purpose, your calling, your reason for being born. This organ has been severely damaged by years of comparison, discouragement, and misdirection. I can see areas of necrosis where dreams died from lack of encouragement. I identify sections of scarring where gifts were wounded by criticism. I locate regions of inflammation where calling was infected by other people's opinions about what you should do with your life. This organ is so damaged it needs complete reconstruction. I must remove all the dead tissue of abandoned dreams, debride the infected areas of misguided attempts, and rebuild the entire structure using stem cells of pure potential that I planted in you before you were born. As I work, I discover something beautiful. Underneath all the damage, the original design is still intact. Your core purpose has survived every attack, every disappointment, every misdirection. It's been dormant, but it's not dead. It's been buried, but it's not destroyed. I begin the reconstruction process using blueprint DNA from your original design. I rebuild your passion chambers, reconstruct your gifting systems, restore your vision mechanisms. I install new spiritual nerve endings that will help you sense divine opportunities more clearly than ever before. The surgery is taking longer than usual because the damage was more extensive than initial tests revealed. But I am not limited by time, and I never leave a job unfinished. Every area that needs attention will receive it. Every system that needs repair will be restored. Every organ that needs replacement will be made new. I can see your spiritual vital signs stabilizing. Your faith pulse is strong and steady. Your hope blood pressure is excellent. Your love circulation is flowing freely. Your joy levels are rising to optimal ranges. The critical phase of the operation is complete. Now begins the delicate work of closing, healing, and ensuring that all systems integrate properly with the new modifications I've made. Sleep peacefully, my beloved. The hardest part is over. When you wake up, you'll be amazed at how different everything feels, how much lighter you are, how much stronger you've become. The surgery was a complete success. Welcome back, my precious child. You're waking up in heaven's recovery room, and I must tell you, the surgery was even more successful than I initially projected. What I accomplished while you slept in surrender will become evident in the days and weeks ahead as your new reality fully manifests. But first, let me explain what you're experiencing as you regain consciousness. You may feel different, lighter somehow. That's because I removed years of accumulated pain that you had become so accustomed to carrying, you thought it was part of your normal weight. The burden of worry that used to press on your chest is gone. The anxiety that used to knot in your stomach has been extracted. The fear that used to whisper in your ear has been silenced. You may also feel stronger, even though you haven't moved from this bed. That's because I repaired damage to your faith muscles that has been limiting your spiritual strength for years. I removed scar tissue from old disappointments that was restricting your range of emotional motion. I realigned your hope skeleton that had been bent out of shape by repeated setbacks. But the most dramatic change you'll notice is in your vision. Colors seem more vivid because I removed the cataracts of negativity that were clouding your perception. Possibilities appear clearer because I corrected the astigmatism of limitation that was distorting how you saw your future. Your spiritual eyesight has been restored to perfect 20/20 vision of what I'm doing in your life. Now, let me explain your discharge instructions because proper